This video today is gonna be my last video for today because I'm getting kind of tired. So I'm getting kind of tired of making videos and all that stuff. So I'm getting kind of tired. And so this will be the last video, and you needed to know that, right? Didn't you? So today's topic will be living longer. Now, before 30, before I was 30 years old, I did not want to live past 30. That was not my goal. My goal was to be crazy, drive crazy cars, live a crazy lifestyle, do risky behavior, take chances or whatever, and everything. I wasn't planning to live past 30. I saw older people and I thought, I don't want to be one of them, like what you're looking at right now. This was not planned, trust me. This was not well thought out or planned. I didn't want to live past 30. Plus, I knew there was something wrong in my body. Maybe I'll get onto that later on in my life, but I knew I had something wrong with me physically that was killing me, but I didn't know what it was, and they didn't have a diagnosis for it. They just said that the hospital said it, I think at 12 years old, they said your liver enzymes are high. You have some type of problem. It's not biological, it's some type of virus or something. We don't know what it is. You have some type of problem. Your numbers aren't right. Your enzymes aren't right. So they determine liver damage by your enzymes leaking from your liver. Your liver leaking an abnormal amount into your bloodstream, and then they pick it up on the blood test. Since I was young, I was diagnosed with something, and they didn't know what it was, but they said there's something that ain't right with you, buddy. So aside from that, I I would look at older people, and I learned from older people, and I respected older people, but I did not want to become one. I didn't see anything, And then now I'm in a country that has the highest amount of oldest centurions, they call them, after 100 years. So I'm currently living in a country where people live the longest in the world. So, yeah. So what happened was, I didn't want to live past 30. I had no desire to live past 30. I looked at older people and I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to be all wrinkly like I am now. And I didn't want to have bald spots like it now. And I didn't know my libido was going to go like my drive, my libido, but my libido has decreased. But actually, that's been a blessing because I can think about other things and than what my other head is thinking about. So, anyway, um, so I was in class, and then my wake up call was on my 30th birthday. Because I'm like, oh wow, I wasn't planning for this. Now I'm 30 years old. This was not planned. So I had a paradigm shift on my 30th birthday. I had a total transition. I mean, physically you become less stronger. You can't lift heavy weights. There's a lot of things that you physically change when you're in your 30s, but it was like a wake up call for me. It's like, wow, here you are. So I decided, well, I want to live longer. And then part of the reason why I'm alive now is because I'm just curious what's going to happen next. It's like my life is like I'm watching a movie, And in a real well written movie, you're watching it and you're wondering what's going to happen if they write it really well. Some movies are predictable by the way they do the characterization in the beginning of the movie, but mainly that's what keeps me going. Is I'm just curious of what's the next adventure. Like I wasn't expecting 9/11. I thought I was going to get drafted in the Vietnam War. I was being trained for that. I missed that by a couple years. Glad I didn't get into that. So I could have ended up going into Vietnam. And I didn't, fortunately. And, um, and so I decided that I just wanted to try to live longer to see what was going to happen. And like I just said, the 9/11 happened. That was unexpected. The results from 9/11, that was unexpected. The inflation was unexpected. So I'm here. Mainly the purpose for living longer and being alive is, just curiosity of what's going to happen next. And then also, I like to learn and I like to study everything. So, from what's in the toilet to what's in the sky, or what's going on, I like to study and everything. But now I look at the news and everything's kind of the same. And then I'm not voting this year. I'm never voting again. I'm done voting. So I've lived old enough that I've seen, now I'm getting political. I've voted for both sides in that country. Other countries, they have more parties and dimensions. And that's a whole nother story. That's a divide and conquer. Look up divide and conquer. So that's what's happening. That's why things are the way they are in the States. But my tips for living longer is, um, I was raised in drugs. I abused drugs. I had drugs problems, smoked, and all that stuff. And so, what I did, my suggestion to someone that wants to live longer is make financial plans so that later on in life you have a decent retirement. So find retirement, have a IRA or a retirement account, and have it diversified into different companies. Like it's a gamble. I mean, there's 20 or 30 companies that were in business, like Sears and were in business when I was younger that no longer exist. Sears, Woolworths, some other companies or whatever that were like huge stores, Kmart, yeah, Kmart, and so diversify your portfolio so that like like maybe you might lose on a company or two, but then maybe the other companies will do really well. So diversify your portfolio. Have some money for when you get up in the years, if to pay your medical bills, because the hospital needs to make money off you before you die. And then also, if you have money when you die, you don't really die because your body is dead. It gets cremated or buried or whatever they do with it, dissected or donated the organs, depending on what age you are when you go. And they get sold on the market or whatever they do with them. But the taxes in your estate will live on past your life. So your taxes in your estate are eternal. They'll be taxed and everything after you physically lose your body. So that's why you want to prepare for your retirement and then if you want to have a little fun, don't have a will with anybody. I mean, if you want to have some fun, have it so that everybody has to fight over the will and the attorney gets in charge of it and they all fight and they all get nothing from being so greedy for trying to get everything. If you want to have a little bit of fun, if you really seriously you want your money to go to some people that you like in your family, you can send it that way. um, So, avoiding dangerous behavior. You know, if you're driving 100 miles an hour and you get in an accident 100 miles an hour, the likelihood of a lot worse things happening to you are possible. Don't drive a motorcycle ever if you don't have to, because you have just two wheels protecting you, and one of those wheels blown out, you're flying on concrete. Um, take your safety precautions, take your vitamins, eat a healthy diet, uh, maybe higher protein when you're younger than when you get older. A lot of people go vegetarian. I think Nikola Tesla was a vegetarian. There were some other people. Albert Einstein, later on in life, he became a vegetarian. So, a more vegetable heavy diet, um, less fat. I mean, this is all common sense. Less sugars, lower on the sugars, more natural ingredients, less artificial ingredients, generally healthier diet, which I learned on early on, which is a long story, but the healthier diet, I felt better. Don't smoke. Smoking will cut your chances of life short. And if you do behavior like skiing or something like that, get ready to bust your legs or bust your arms. I mean, if you, one trick or one thing, like I used to be a jock, I was into sports too. And you pay for that later in life. So if you abuse your body, unless you're trying for the Olympics or something, take it easy. So do enough of exercise to stay fit and keep your health. It's a balance. It's basically a balance. Life is a balance. The fastest computer in the world is a quantum computer. It goes in between ones and zeros. So the standard computer systems are doing ones and zeros. Quantum computers are in between ones and zeros, and they're the fastest computer. So that means being in the middle. And in the Buddhist religion, they say take the middle path. So you kind of take the middle path. Also, don't get avoiding conflicts, and don't get into fights unless you absolutely have to. Um, for self protection, and try to emit positive energy and keep a good outlook. So, like they were finding out that people that got coronavirus, the ones that had the positive outlook had more positive outcomes. More people survived. They did a survey of the mental state. So keeping a fairly positive attitude, then we know that this world's going to destroy itself. We're looking at World War III. All the great books, the Bible, the Quran, and the Buddhist temples, tablets, the Mormon tablets or whatever, they all predict, even the Mayans and the ancient civilizations, they all have the prediction of the great end. You know, I mean, so to live longer, you want to live in a healthy environment. So you think of what you put in your body. Are you eating healthy things? And then you want to keep your body, your endurance up. So you don't want to over exercise and overly burn yourself out. So when you get older, you don't have pain because of things you did to yourself when you were younger. You don't want to have injuries that you sustain. And then the body completely rejuvenates itself in 10 years. So all your organs, this wasn't known before, all your organs, everything recycles in 10 years. Your bones, everything, all your cells, everything recycles. They didn't know this before. And your brain cells, they can grow. They can still grow back. You can still be trained. You can still learn. So always be curious, be learning, be open-minded. Friends difficult. Choose your friends wisely. So I would rather have a few quality down-to-earth friends that have some solid advice than have a bunch of friends But everyone is my friend until they start shooting bullets at me, which I've had happen before. So hang out with people that aren't troublemakers. Like they say, birds of a feather flock together. Or how can you hang around? How can you How can you soar with the eagles when you're hanging around turkeys? Not that they're not. I'm not bad mouthing turkeys because I don't want to get sued by a turkey. But also, what comes out of your mouth, you can get sued for that now, slander, all that stuff, and all that. Just basically avoid conflict until you absolutely have to deal with the situation, and try to listen to your gut and your red flags. Like if you're getting vibes from a person that something isn't right, listen to that. Trust your gut and trust your instincts and all that stuff. And if there's warning flags or there's conflicts early in a relationship or a friendship, if you're having some conflicts, it's better to leave. It's better to bail. Because I've had a ton of relationships. I've been married a few times and all that stuff. And and that can cause a lot of stress. So the major causes of stress in first world countries is heart attack, which is from diet, and cancer, which is from diet. Third world countries, it's like pollution, car accidents, things like that in other third world countries, and those demographics are changing. But predominantly, the main causes of death isn't wars and bullets, it's diet is a big factor. So diet, exercise, try to stay in the middle of the road, avoid conflicts because they're costly. I mean, it costs a lot of money to go to court. Say it's not even a physical battle, you just go to court, you know. Um, do a bunch of different jobs before you pick your final job so that you're happy with what you do. So you're happy. Pick a job where you're happy with what you do and you feel comfortable with what you do. Set realistic expectations and always have some goals. Like, see, if you don't have a goal, like if you're not going from A to B, is that annoying? Is that annoying to you? Are you going to switch channels now? But anyway, so um, yeah, avoid conflicts, avoid altercations, um, don't live beyond your means. So if you don't need a bunch of fancy things, fancy cars, because if you have the fancy car, you're going to pay the fancy car insurance. You're going to be high profile. That's another thing is you don't want to be high profile because then you become a target for people that want to steal from you or rob you or whatever. So you want to be kind of the middle of the road. You don't want to be a high profile person. Just kind of blend in with the crowd, go with the flow, and don't believe what the politicians are saying. Because I've voted for both political parties and I've seen nothing but the middle class of the U.S. get destroyed. And I've seen the U.S. become more unstable, but actually the whole planet, not just the U.S., has become more unstable. So whatever, so it's better to have a few smart friends that you hang out with that you kind of agree with, and choose your friends wisely, and people that you meet that you're getting to know a little bit if they're engaging in risky behavior, stay away from them because eventually you'll get pulled into their risky behavior, whether directly or indirectly. So the less risks you take, I don't say you shouldn't lock your door and stay in your house the rest of your life and not going out in an adventure. but don't go beyond your means. And if you're going to a new country or a new environment or everything, try to have a tour guide or at least do enough of research on where you're going, of the natural hazards and things that can happen to you, uh, um, and so forth. And choose your friends wisely. Um, uh, Choose an occupation that you're happy with. Plan for your retirement. I already went through the diet thing. Um, uh, Exercise always. Um, um, be honest with yourself and love yourself. So ultimately, you were born alone unless you're born twins or triplets or quadruplets, but ultimately, you're born alone. And you're probably going to leave alone too unless you're on an airplane or a bus and you all expire at the exact same time. But you're probably going to leave alone too. So ultimately, be your own best friend and learn to trust yourself and learn to love yourself and keep yourself first. It sounds selfish and all that. I mean, there's a balance. It's like when you get in your head too much, you get cuckoo. I can tell you from the coronavirus pandemic, the biological weapon coronavirus. That's another story, but um, and also like for example, if you're on a train or you're around somebody that they're spewing and they're coughing, and you can tell that they're obviously sick. Get away from them. Or if you see people that are in a fight or a gunfight, don't stand there and watch. Get away from that situation. You know, or if you're on a bridge that's collapsing, you try to get to the other side as fast as you can. Just try to predict the future a little bit. If you can see things coming up in the future, um, you know, it's like looking forward too much is bad, but if you keep looking in the rear view mirror all the time, you're getting a head on collision in the future because you're busy looking at the past. So life is kind of that way. And living in the present moment because it will never be the same and it will always be changing. And then depending on how long you want to live, like if you want to live in a long, long, long time, hopefully you would have some kids that would take care of you when you get older. Otherwise, you would have to have a good amount of money and be able to afford for an old folks home where people are going to take care of you when you get older. And like legal situations or whatever, like situations that cause stress. So that's another factor. So try to stay away from situations that are stressful for you. If that means traveling at a different times of day and avoiding rush hour traffic or a long line at the bank or ATM or whatever, try to make your life as least stressful as you can. And like I said, learn to love yourself, be your own best friend, and be comfortable being alone and by yourself. And also be comfortable with critical thinking by yourself. So, like at the end of the day, or sometimes I wait till the next day, I'll think, what did I do the day before that I could have done differently? Like, do an inventory of your day. Like, what did I do that was better than what I could have done? And what did I do was, where did I make some mistakes? Where I try to learn from your experience as you go along. So at the end of the day, maybe you think, well, I should have turned left here when I could have gone right, or I went right when I could have gone left, or whatever. Just decisions. So you have to kind of evaluate yourself and your behavior and the behavior of the people that are around you and all that stuff. Um, Naturally, I learned early on in life that if I wasn't going to be scrubbing dishes for the rest of my life, not that being a dishwasher is a bad thing because I did it, right? But if you don't want to be doing menial tasks, develop a skill set that's marketable. Now, and in my age, the skill set's different. My market has changed, so I have to learn a new skill set at my age. So try to pick. It's hard to predict the future, but at least have a skill set that will be marketable for a while. Something that you can do for a while later on in the years where you can make a paycheck or whatever, and until you fully get your retirement and everything. And study. Study. Always be learning. Always want to meet new people. Be open minded. Everybody's like a book. Ask them all the questions you want if they have the time to talk to you. And study everybody and everything. And be curious about everything and learn about everything. Like with me, I guess one of the big problems is when I get my ego gets in the way and I think I got all the answers. Like, what can that person teach me? There's some skill, there's something that that person knows that I don't know that would benefit me. And if I'm willing to lower my, you know, ego down a little bit, I, I realize that, hey, there's some things I can learn from everybody, regardless of their skin color or whatever, you know. So, and study. So, like me, I'm multiracial. So, and accept the environment you're in. And if you're in an environment that's not safe, if you're in a country or a relationship or a friendship or something that you can see is not going to be safe, don't argue or have conflict. It's better to leave and win than to fight and win and maybe not win because you caused yourself so much stress fighting in that situation that, it's like, you're standing in the middle of the road and, well, I don't want to explain it that way, but, um, to live longer, you just choose the middle road. Try to eat a reasonable diet, be decent to your body. Uh, don't overdo it on the exercise. Don't underdo it on the exercise. Don't do it on the diet. Don't underdo it on the diet. And just study. And now with AI and the way the technology is getting, like back in the day, I used to have to run down to the library and check out like 12 different books and read them and study that way. And then I had to take all the books back to the library, after I was done reading them. And now you can just click through the internet. Now, 50% or 70% of the internet is BS or whatever. So you just evaluate the information you're getting. And in the country you live in, or the friends you associate with, they're going to have their own propaganda, their own belief systems, or whatever. So try to set yourself aside from that and look at it from a different point of view. Like maybe they're right in this way and maybe they're wrong in that way, etc., and all that. That goes with looking in the mirror at you, at yourself. So, evaluate yourself and try to think about what decisions, what things am I doing that aren't really benefiting me, these habits or things that aren't really benefiting me that I'm doing just out of habit. Like, are these things really benefiting me this way I'm spending my time? So try to spend your time wisely while you're here because you only have so much time. We're on a time clock. That's the deal in this human body. And then where we go somewhere else is open to a big, huge debate.